Let me start by saying something important. Classy is not about money, brands, or perfection. Classy is an energy. It's the way you carry yourself, the way you treat others, and the way you value yourself, especially when no one is watching. When men talk about the women who truly stay with them, don't forget, the ones they commit to, it's rarely about looks alone. It's about how they feel in her presence. And today, I want to share 5 classy traits that consistently create that feeling of attraction, safety, and desire. Self-respect is one of the most powerful qualities a woman can embody, and it has nothing to do with being rigid, cold, or demanding. True self-respect is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted in how a woman sees herself. When a woman respects herself, she does not need to announce her standards or prove her value. Her behavior naturally communicates it. She knows what feels right for her and what does not, and she honors that inner knowing even when it would be easier to ignore it for the sake of attention, approval, or temporary comfort. This kind of self-respect creates a natural sense of dignity that others instinctively respond to. A woman with self-respect does not chase after inconsistent energy. When someone pulls away, becomes vague, or treats her with uncertainty, she does not panic or try to fix the situation by overgiving. Instead, she observes. She allows people to reveal who they are through their actions. She understands that clarity is kindness, and confusion is often a sign to step back rather than lean in. This does not come from fear or pride, but from an understanding that her emotional well-being matters. She chooses peace over chaos and alignment over attachment. Setting boundaries is an essential part of self-respect, but classy boundaries are not aggressive or defensive. They are communicated calmly and without emotional charge. A self-respecting woman does not threaten to leave, test loyalty, or use silence as punishment. She simply states what works for her and what does not, and then she follows through with her actions. If a boundary is crossed repeatedly, she does not argue or explain endlessly. She adjusts her availability. This consistency between words and actions builds trust and commands respect without force. Self-respect also shows in how a woman speaks to herself. She does not tolerate constant self-criticism or negative inner dialogue. She is aware that the way she treats herself sets the tone for how others will treat her. She does not define her worth by whether someone chooses her, stays with her, or prioritizes her. Instead, her sense of value comes from within. This inner stability allows her to stay grounded in moments of rejection or uncertainty without losing her sense of self. A self-respecting woman understands that not everyone will be able to meet her at her level, and she does not take that personally. She does not try to lower her standards to avoid being alone, nor does she shame others for being different. She simply recognizes compatibility for what it is. This maturity allows her to walk away from situations that require her to shrink, compromise her values, or constantly prove her worth. Walking away is not an act of anger for her, but an act of self-honoring. There is a quiet confidence that comes from self-respect. It shows in her posture, her tone, and her presence. She listens more than she explains. She observes more than she reacts. She does not rush intimacy, trust, or emotional investment. She allows connection to build naturally over time. Men feel this energy immediately. They sense that she values herself and that being close to her requires effort, integrity, and consistency. This naturally encourages higher standards of behavior without her ever having to demand it. Self-respect does not mean she never compromises or makes mistakes. It means she's willing to learn from her experiences without abandoning herself. When she recognizes that something does not align with her values, she chooses to course correct rather than self-betray. She forgives herself for past choices, but she does not repeat patterns that cost her peace. Over time, this creates a deep trust within herself, a sense that no matter what happens externally, she will protect her emotional and mental well-being. Emotional composure is the ability to stay connected to your feelings without being ruled by them. It does not mean suppressing emotion or pretending not to care. It means allowing emotions to move through you without letting them dictate your behavior or damage your self-respect. A woman with emotional composure understands that emotions are information, not commands. She feels deeply but she responds thoughtfully. This creates a sense of stability and trust that is naturally attractive and deeply reassuring. When something triggers her, she does not react immediately. She pauses. That pause is powerful because it gives her space to choose how she wants to show up. Instead of sending impulsive messages, raising her voice, or making accusations, she takes a breath and gains clarity. She recognizes that emotional reactions often escalate situations rather than resolve them. By slowing down, she protects both her dignity and the connection. This calm presence changes the entire dynamic of communication. Emotional composure shows up most clearly during conflict. A composed woman does not avoid difficult conversations, but she also does not turn them into battles. She stays focused on the issue rather than attacking the person. She expresses how she feels without blaming or shaming. Her tone remains steady even when the topic is sensitive. This does not mean she is emotionless. It means she values understanding over winning. Men feel safer opening up around this energy because they know they will be heard rather than judged. A woman with emotional composure does not use emotional intensity as a way to gain control or attention. She does not test someone's feelings by creating drama, withdrawing affection, or provoking jealousy. She understands that manipulation erodes trust and intimacy. Instead, she communicates directly. If something bothers her, she names it with honesty and respect. This clarity reduces confusion and builds emotional intimacy because there are no hidden agendas or emotional games. Composure also means she does not personalize everything. She understands that someone's mood, stress, or silence is not always about her. Rather than jumping to conclusions or assuming rejection, she allows space for context. She asks questions instead of making accusations. This emotional maturity prevents unnecessary conflict and helps her maintain inner balance even when situations feel uncertain. A composed woman knows when to step back. If emotions are running high, she gives herself time before responding. She does not force resolution in the heat of the moment. She trusts that clarity comes with calm. This ability to self-regulate is a sign of strong emotional intelligence. It allows her to remain grounded even when others are not, which naturally positions her as a stabilizing presence in relationships. Emotional composure also shows in how she handles disappointment. When expectations are not met, she allows herself to feel the disappointment without collapsing into resentment or self-doubt. She reflects, adjusts her expectations, and decides how to move forward without bitterness. She does not punish others for failing to read her mind. She understands that clear communication is her responsibility. There's a quiet strength in emotional composure that cannot be faked. It comes from self-awareness and self-trust. A woman who practices emotional composure is not afraid of her emotions, nor is she overwhelmed by them. She knows that her emotions are valid, but she also knows that how she expresses them defines the quality of her relationships. This balance between emotional honesty and self-control creates an environment where respect, attraction, and emotional safety naturally grow. Genuine warmth and kindness come from a place of inner security rather than a desire to be liked or approved of. A woman who embodies this quality is not kind because she fears rejection, and she is not warm because she wants something in return. Her kindness is natural, consistent, and rooted in how she chooses to move through the world. This creates a presence that feels safe, inviting, and emotionally nourishing to those around her. Warmth begins with attentiveness. She listens fully when someone speaks, not to respond or correct, but to understand. She makes eye contact, acknowledges feelings, and gives others the sense that they matter in that moment. This kind of presence is rare, and it leaves a lasting impression. Men often feel deeply valued around a woman who listens without judgment because it allows them to relax and be themselves rather than perform or defend. Kindness also shows in how she responds to vulnerability. When someone opens up, she does not minimize their feelings or rush to fix them. She allows space for emotion without discomfort. She understands that being emotionally present is more powerful than offering solutions. This ability to sit with someone's truth without making it about herself creates deep emotional trust and connection. A genuinely warm woman is respectful in her words, even when she disagrees. She does not use sarcasm, mockery, or harsh criticism to assert herself, she knows that strength does not require cruelty. When boundaries are needed, she communicates them with clarity and compassion. This balance allows her to remain kind without becoming a doormat and strong without becoming cold. Kindness also extends to how she treats people who have nothing to offer her. She's polite to service workers, patient with strangers, and considerate in small, unnoticed moments. These behaviors reflect her character, not her circumstances. Men notice this more than they admit, because it reveals how she is likely to treat them when no one else is watching. Warmth does not mean constant positivity or forced cheerfulness. A classy woman allows herself to have real emotions without projecting negativity onto others. She does not complain excessively or dwell in bitterness. When she speaks about challenges, she does so with honesty and perspective. This emotional balance makes her presence feel light rather than draining. Genuine kindness also involves generosity of spirit. She celebrates others' successes without comparison or envy. She offers encouragement without diminishing herself. She understands that lifting others does not lower her own value. This abundance mindset creates a magnetic quality, as people naturally gravitate toward those who make them feel seen and appreciated. A warm woman does not use kindness as a strategy to secure love. She is kind because it aligns with who she is. If her kindness is taken for granted or disrespected, she does not harden or become resentful. She simply adjusts her access and protects her energy. This discernment ensures that her warmth remains authentic rather than depleted. Men are drawn to genuine warmth and kindness because these qualities create emotional safety. Around such a woman, they feel accepted rather than judged, appreciated rather than evaluated. Her presence becomes a place of ease and connection in a world that often demands toughness and emotional restraint. This kind of attraction is deep and lasting, rooted not in excitement or intensity, but in the comfort of being understood and valued. A fulfilled life beyond romantic focus is one of the most quietly attractive qualities a woman can have. It reflects a sense of wholeness that does not depend on another person to feel complete. A woman who lives this way enjoys connection, intimacy, and partnership, but she does not rely on them for her identity or happiness. Her life already has structure, meaning, and direction, and a relationship is something that adds to it rather than defines it. This kind of fulfillment shows in how she spends her time. She has interests that energize her, whether that comes from creative pursuits, professional goals, learning, fitness, or personal growth. These interests give her a sense of momentum and purpose. She is curious about the world and engaged with it. Because of this, her conversations feel rich and varied. She brings ideas, experiences, and perspectives into a relationship rather than expecting a partner to provide constant stimulation or entertainment. A woman with a full life does not overfocus on a man's availability, attention, or approval. She does not wait by the phone or rearrange her entire schedule to accommodate someone who has not earned that level of priority. She values her time and protects it. This naturally creates balance in dating and relationships. Men feel less pressure and more freedom around her, which paradoxically increases their desire to invest and pursue. Having a fulfilled life also means maintaining strong connections outside of romance. She nurtures friendships, family bonds, and social connections that support her emotionally. These relationships provide grounding and perspective. When challenges arise in her romantic life, she does not place all emotional weight on one person. This emotional distribution prevents resentment and dependency, allowing romantic connections to remain healthy and voluntary rather than burdensome. A woman who is fulfilled on her own is not afraid of space in a relationship. She understands that distance does not automatically mean disconnection. She trusts herself and the process of building intimacy over time. Because she is not constantly seeking reassurance, she allows a man to miss her, to think about her, and to move toward her naturally. This creates a dynamic where attraction grows rather than feels forced. This sense of fulfillment also influences how she handles uncertainty. She does not panic when things feel undefined or when a relationship is still developing. She allows situations to unfold without trying to control outcomes. Her life remains steady regardless of romantic fluctuation. This steadiness creates emotional safety and stability, qualities that deepen attraction and respect. A fulfilled woman also knows that her dreams and ambitions matter. She does not abandon them to fit into someone else's life. She expects mutual support and respect for her goals. This does not mean she is inflexible or self-centered. It means she values herself enough to build a life that reflects who she truly is. Men who are emotionally healthy are drawn to this because it signals partnership rather than dependency. When a woman is fulfilled beyond romance, her energy changes. She is more relaxed, playful, and present. She is not trying to secure love through effort or sacrifice. She is sharing her life rather than offering herself as an emotional solution. This creates a sense of choice rather than need on both sides. Her fulfillment also protects her from settling. She does not cling to situations that feel misaligned or draining. She knows that being alone with a meaningful life is far better than being in a relationship that diminishes her. This confidence allows her to walk away from connections that do not meet her standards without bitterness or fear over time. This way of living creates relationships that are built on mutual desire, respect, and genuine connection rather than fear. Of loneliness, quiet feminine confidence and grace are often misunderstood because they do not demand attention or seek validation. This form of confidence is subtle, grounded, and deeply rooted in self-acceptance. A woman who embodies it does not feel the need to compete, dominate, or prove her worth. She is comfortable in her own skin, and that comfort naturally draws others toward her. Her confidence is felt rather than announced, and her presence speaks before her words do. This quiet confidence begins with self-trust. She trusts her intuition, her timing, and her ability to handle whatever unfolds. She does not rush decisions out of fear, nor does she second-guess herself to gain approval. When she speaks, her words are measured and intentional. When she listens, she is fully present. This balance creates a calm, steady energy that feels reassuring and attractive. Grace shows in how she moves through the world. She's mindful of her tone, her body language, and the emotional space she creates. She does not react impulsively or harshly when challenged. Instead, she responds with composure and clarity. Grace does not mean passivity. It means choosing dignity over defensiveness and self-respect over emotional volatility. This choice gives her an undeniable presence that commands respect without force. A woman with quiet feminine confidence does not compare herself constantly to others. She understands that comparison erodes authenticity. She appreciates beauty, strength, and success in other women without feeling threatened. This security allows her to remain authentic rather than performative. Men sense this immediately. They feel that she is real, grounded, and emotionally safe, which makes connection feel natural rather than pressured. Receiving is a key part of feminine confidence. She allows compliments, affection, and support without deflecting or minimizing them. She does not apologize for being appreciated. She understands that receiving is not weakness but openness. When a man offers effort or care, she meets it with gratitude rather than suspicion or testing. This encourages generosity and deepens emotional connection. Quiet confidence also shows in how she handles attention. She does not chase it, and she does not fear it. She allows interest to develop without forcing outcomes. She's patient with the process of building attraction and trust because she is not attached to immediate results. She can remain playful and present. This creates an atmosphere where attraction unfolds naturally rather than feeling manufactured. Grace becomes especially visible in moments of disappointment or rejection. A confident, graceful woman does not collapse into self-doubt or bitterness when things do not work out. She feels the disappointment, but she does not internalize it as a reflection of her worth. She understands that not every connection is meant to last. This perspective allows her to move forward with her heart open rather than guarded. There is also a softness to feminine confidence that coexists with strength. She is emotionally open without being fragile. She can be nurturing without losing herself. She expresses needs and desires without demanding or controlling. This balance creates harmony in relationships as both people feel respected and valued. Quiet feminine confidence and grace are ultimately about alignment. A woman who embodies these qualities is aligned with herself, her values, and her emotional truth. She's not trying to become someone else to be chosen. She's allowing herself to be seen as she is. This authenticity creates a deep and lasting attraction that goes far beyond surface-level chemistry. Clear communication without drama or control is one of the most underrated yet powerful qualities a woman can bring into a relationship. It reflects emotional maturity, self-awareness, and respect for both herself and the person she is communicating with. A woman who communicates clearly does not expect others to read her mind, nor does she hide her needs behind hints, silence, or emotional tests. She understands that clarity creates connection, while confusion slowly erodes trust. This kind of communication begins with honesty. She is honest about how she feels, what she wants, and what does not work for her. She does not exaggerate her emotions to be taken seriously, and she does not downplay them to avoid conflict. When something matters to her, she expresses it calmly and directly. Her words are rooted in truth rather than fear, which makes them easier to receive and respect. A woman who communicates without drama does not raise issues in moments of emotional intensity just to release tension. She chooses the right time and space to talk. She understands that timing influences understanding. When emotions are high, she allows herself to cool down before engaging in conversation. This restraint prevents unnecessary arguments and keeps discussions productive rather than reactive. She also avoids control-based communication. She does not use guilt, ultimatums, or emotional withdrawal to influence behavior. She knows that controlling tactics may produce short-term compliance, but destroy long-term intimacy. Instead, she speaks from her own experience. She uses language that expresses feelings rather than accusations. This approach invites dialogue rather than defensiveness. Listening is an essential part of clear communication. She listens to understand, not to interrupt or correct. She allows the other person to express their perspective fully, even when it differs from her own. This does not mean she abandons her boundaries. It means she values mutual understanding. Men feel respected when they are heard without being judged or dismissed. And this respect strengthens emotional connection. A woman who communicates clearly also takes responsibility for her emotion. She does not blame others for how she feels, nor does she expect someone else to manage her emotional state. She recognizes her triggers and expresses them with awareness rather than projection. This accountability creates trust and stability in relationships. Clear communication also means consistency between words and actions. She does not say one thing and do another. If she expresses a need or sets a boundary, she follows through calmly if that boundary is not respected. This consistency removes confusion and establishes reliability. Men are naturally drawn to women whose communication is straightforward and aligned with their behavior. When misunderstandings arise, she addresses them rather than letting resentment build. She asks questions instead of making assumptions. She seeks clarity rather than victory. This mindset turns potential conflicts into opportunities for deeper understanding rather than emotional distance. Ultimately, clear communication without drama or control creates emotional safety. It allows both people to feel seen, heard, and respected. It removes power struggles and replaces them with partnership. Relationships thrive in environments where truth can be spoken calmly and received openly. When a woman communicates this way, she becomes not only deeply attractive, but also deeply trusted. And trust is what transforms connection into lasting intimacy.